Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast, where I, your host, Xavier Cruz, a lifelong wrestling fan, will take a lifelong friend through the action, the joys, and the drama of the world of professional wrestling. My co-host, Kelsey Silva, has been bitten by the wrestling bug, and I want to invite you to join us as I take her through the moments that made me a fan. So if you're new to wrestling and would like to get brought up to speed, or a fan who would like to relive some classic matches, promos, and segments through fresh eyes, join us as we embark on a journey through the Attitude Era and beyond. Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast. This week, we watched the March 10th, 1997 edition of Raw is War, and the match card is as follows. We had Rocky Maivia taking on Tony Roy. We had a six-man tag team match featuring Heavy Metal, Pierrot, Pentagon, facing the Latin Lover, Hector Garza, and Octagon. We had Ahmed Johnson taking on Roy Raymond. We had the tag team champions, the British Bulldog and Owen Hart, taking on the New Blackjacks. We had Miguel Perez taking on Leif Cassidy, Aldo Montoya taking on Billy Gunn, Goldust taking on Tim McNeely, and in our main event, we had the Undertaker and Sycho Sid taking on Mankind and Vader.
Mama.
That was a lot of matches for not that much wrestling. So,
whoa, say it.
no, it's fine. We're headed towards a major pay-per-view, so this tends to be like the way that it goes. We need to move along those plot lines. Otherwise, the show's not going to make any sense.
Yeah.
So, this one is going to be a lot of moving parts, less analysis of wrestling matches.
Yeah.
Because there, to be honest, was not that many full-out wrestling matches.
Yeah. And any full-out wrestling matches were like, some of them were so short, like had to be under 5 minutes, like just being done.
Right.
So the match card is long, but the matches were short.
Yes, absolutely. Because there was so much going on outside of the matches that it didn't matter. So
yeah,
by the time we cut back from whatever outside segment, interview, whatever thing was going on outside of the match, we like cut back to the match and the match is over. So it was a whole lot of that. But this did see the new introduction of Monday Night Raw, switching it over to like the Raw is War, very much like this is the Attitude Era that we have been discussing, and what I've been waiting for us to get to this entire time is this era.
So good.
So fun.
New intro was amazing.
Oh, so amazing. They played it twice.
Yeah, that was a little crazy, but yeah, this intro is amazing. Like the pyrotechnics, it reminded me, it must be the same kind of set location that Stone Cold used to film his promos in.
Oh, for sure.
Has to be. Same barking dog, same whatever, but like it was so good. At one point it's just
I know that one.
I know him. He's famous. But at some point, like they had a ring in the middle of like some abandoned warehouse, dusty, musty, whatever. Everything is on fire. Except the ring, and they're just six
wailing
dudes
on each other,
fist fighting. I was like, this is what I want to see.
Oh, it's great. We have now like moved on from that kind of like 80s like retro theme.
Right.
It's so good. I love it. And
thank God.
It gave us a new set. So
obsessed.
Like even so we no longer have those like giant like Raw like spelled out onto the stage. We get like this is the introduction to like that classic Titantron with a giant screen.
Titantron.
Oh yeah, that's what that big thing is called. Yeah.
Wow. That would be a great wrestler name or a drag queen name.
Or a transformer.
Or multi-purpose. You can go so many directions with that. Please, someone take this idea.
Oh,
take
Titantron.
Yeah, and hit him with the I don't know, the Titan drop or like something crazy. The cyber punch. Like I don't know. There's something there.
Punch.
There's something there.
We'll workshop
I'm not accessing.
We'll workshop and get back to you. Don't take it necessarily at face value. There's potential. We need to flesh it out a little bit more.
Somebody put in the comments what you think the the Titantron's finisher would be. Thanks.
Oh, yes, please. I would love that. I would
Please.
absolutely eat that up. Give me your fictional finishers.
Give me. Yeah.
All right. So this one opens up with JR interviewing the WWF champion Sycho Sid. And it's basically he's just kind of asking, like, oh, so give me the tea. Why don't you want to team with the Undertaker? and and basically Sid is just like, I smell something fishy. And then like whatever came after that was just so incoherent as far as like following a like train of thought. I think he was trying to be like Undertaker has history with Paul Bearer, so
Yeah.
he thinks maybe the Undertaker is going to be aligned with Paul Bearer. He was
It's a
just
stretch.
it was very convoluted. We were just like, sir, do you know anything about what's been going on for the last like 6 months?
But even if he had presented it cohesively, it's still a stretch. But also, he didn't. Like, I was like, what is he saying about Paul Bear? Like, and then he was
Right.
just like,
Right. No,
something's
there's one point he's like fully like in the middle of the promo. And he just like stops because he's just like, and it is so obvious that it is the like, I don't know what comes next. Like I
I d-
don't like there is nothing. Like he was running full speed cliff. He's just like
and it was like, oh,
oh about
oh.
that. He was literally about to have like a Wile E. Coyote like
Where it
road
like he's
runner.
like out over the ledge and it takes him like he's like bink bink and then he
Falls.
falls.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it was very much that. Basically he's like, oh, the Undertaker, my advice to you for tonight, or maybe for your whole career, is to stay in the graveyard. And we're just like, no, I'm not gonna do any of
No, because then
that.
also it doesn't make sense, and I know this is also just like now I'm like really dicing this tomato. Is like if you want him to tonight go to the graveyard and stay there, and then he's like, because that's what I'm gonna do to you at WrestleMania. It's like, but now he's already there because you told him to go
To
there.
stay there tonight.
So
He's already there.
he's already there. So what are you doing? Like he
Are
comes out
you
and says,
visiting the graveyard?
yeah,
Like,
and then we're
are you taking him out to put him back in?
like it just. And I get, like, I know it must be hard to improv, but my God, his are just, it's a journey.
Yeah, it's a
And
trek
not
every
one I
time.
like to take, to
No,
be
it's
honest.
because the person holding the lantern is blind. Like, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't like it's an irrelevant
The
lantern.
views are beautiful, but I have no idea where we're going, and you said you knew, and you literally can't see,
You
and now I don't know
I don't know
it's
where
all
we
a
are.
mess.
Yeah, no, it's approaching every time. So like
For sure. We've gotten like one good one out of the whole thing. And then how does he finish it? I'm gonna put you in the graveyard once and for good.
once and for good.
You
I,
guys.
I was irate when he goes once and for good. That you have the expression in your mouth, and you just went and just like drove us off the road. It's just like it was right there.
Because I bet all of you listening, when I said once and for, you all went all in
All
your head.
as a
All
group,
of you.
we all said
All.
all. That's right.
Not
Yes.
good. Good was not coming to you, and I know that. And I
He said
know
it
that.
once and for good.
Once and for good.
Hit
Okay,
or be
Glinda.
hitting. This man.
It never gets old. Hit
No,
or
it
be
never
hidden
gets
once
old.
and for
It might
good.
be for you guys, but it's certainly not for us. Hit or be hitting.
Hit or be hidden once and for good, and that's on period.
Psycho Sid. Um,
XOXO, Psycho
go piss,
Sid.
girl.
Oh
So
God.
the Undertaker has had enough of the
Finally.
stupidity.
Thank God.
And you know he comes down, he like makes his entrance, does his little light trick, you know, magic. We're all here for it. We eat it up every time. He comes in, he stares down Psycho Sid. And his opening line just kills me. He goes, "If you're scared, just say you're
Yeah,
scared." Like I was just like, "Ooh,
period.
that's beautiful. That's well
Because
done."
like again, you don't need it. these long convoluted metaphors or statements or big words. Literally just like, if you're scared, say that.
Right.
Because all I hear is a lot of chirp, 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 and your knees are shaking. So
Mm-hmm.
what's Miley? What's good?
Right.
Like,
No, literally.
I just love it.
And
It's so good.
essentially he tells Psycho Sid, just enjoy your last days as champion. He's like, your logic is all kinds of flawed. He's like, if something happens to you, I don't get my title shot. If something happens to me, you get off easy. So I don't know what your beef is in this scenario, because you have nothing to lose in this match, and I do. Like,
That
right.
and the
So
amount of times Paul has betrayed the Undertaker, you think that they're plotting
right,
something.
like they're just like out here scheming together, like
Oh,
suddenly just like besties. I was like, he's the Undertaker still hasn't gotten his hands on Paul Bearer. Still hasn't gotten his hands on him.
mm-hmm.
You think he's just like all of a sudden like, no, we Gucci now, like we're
Yeah,
gonna
like,
braid each other's hair, hold hands, and skip? Like, no, I don't think so.
what do you mean?
Like, I
What
don't
do you
think
mean?
so.
They had to put him in a cage above the ring.
Just so that he
Wouldn't
wouldn't just like be the worst, and he was just the worst, just
right up there.
sans gravity. Like that's like
Just
yeah,
over there.
yeah, no.
Yeah, so I love the Undertaker because he just comes in with the coolest logic. Like he's just like, I mean, if you're scared, just say that because like what you said doesn't make any sense. So it kind of sounds like a cover up for something. Like let's
Right,
workshop
right.
it. What's the matter?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like
Love.
he's like, he just goes, oh. Amazing.
Mm.
Yeah. For those of you who are just listening and not watching, we are giving what I would call bombastic side eye, but
Bombastic sided, the vicious up down.
no, but yeah, that's basically the vibe the Undertaker gives anytime he has to interact with Psycho Sid. Is just
I
like,
love it.
look at this less cute version of me.
Oh my god. Look at this ill-formed version of me. Yikes.
So
Ooh, big yikes. Wow,
yeah.
sorry Psycho Sid just dragged you.
Listen, if you could
5
complete
minutes.
a coherent thought, I wouldn't be on you like this. It's not my
Mm.
fault.
Just,
Uh,
mm.
so that is all just a little taste for our main event like tonight. So our first match is Rocky Maivia taking on Tony Roy, who's already in the ring, never heard of, has 2 first names. He's doing a job. So like,
Yep,
yeah,
period.
we knew from like the jump. Kelsey was like, who? I was like, it literally does not matter.
You don't, it's fine. What a sin.
I was like, this is irrelevant information.
Mm-hmm.
So the match like begins all of like maybe 3.5 seconds, and the Sultan comes out with Bob Backlund and the Iron Sheik, and they just start yelling. Bob Backlund just starts yelling into the microphone for the entirety of the match. Granted, the match was exactly like 3.5 minutes long, but he was yelling the whole time.
I
Like
mean,
there was
3.5 minutes
never a
long
break.
is a lot to yell.
Right. 100%. That was a
Yeah.
lot of soapbox.
Oh my god, he's so annoying. And it's so funny again, it's like they heard us because we were like, the Sultan, like, who is this man? Like, I don't even care about him, like la la la. And
Right.
then
And
they're
then they
like,
start
here he comes.
reappearing again.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're like, oh, okay.
I
There was a reason why they reintroduced him onto our televisions.
Bob Backlund is like so close to having an apoplectic seizure. It's crazy. Like, I don't even know what you're yelling at, but I just know it cannot be good for your blood pressure.
No.
And I
Like,
don't care what you're talking about. So why die for that?
right. Like you are like directly and adversely affecting your health.
Like, it's pretty bad.
So we find
Oh,
out that
Bob.
the Sultan will be challenging Rocky Maivia at Wrestlemania for the Intercontinental Championship. Seems a little bit weird to me, but I will say, I guess all of our other real Intercontinental champion like contenders, he's either already kind of like beat in recent history, or they're like entangled in a feud on their own.
Elsewhere.
Right.
That's
So I
true.
mean, I guess if we don't not want to have the title defended,
Yeah,
so
that's
I
true.
guess we're pulling this one out.
All
Sure.
right. Well,
Uh,
I would love to see Bob Backlund get beat up at WrestleMania. That would be, or at least a little like right in
right.
the kisser. That would really thrill me.
Yeah,
So,
on it like like I'd love for him to be like talking into a mic as it's happening. You know, like I want to hear
yeah,
like
the
the
smack
mic
smack.
drop, you know?
Hmm.
Rocky hits a float over DDT, hits the flying crossbody, gets the victory. Sultan's immediately in that.
Mm,
Immediately in the ring.
hmm.
That's what they do. Bob Backlund's still yelling, I'm sure.
Mm.
And as Rocky Maivia is like kind of like making his way up to the ring after the little altercation, he spots in the crowd Tony Atlas. Tony Atlas was his father's tag team partner, and was one half of the first ever like black tag team champions.
Oh,
So
wow. I mean,
yeah, so that's Tony Atlas, and then that was Rocky's father. They were a tag team for a long time.
wow,
Yeah.
he
Um,
is gorgeous.
mhm. I'm pretty sure he was like a bodybuilder
Yeah,
before or
he's
after
a
his
good looking
wrestling career.
feller. He is a good looking feller.
Right. So in our next match, we had a six-man tag, which came a little bit random. It's once
Hmm.
again we have wrestlers from the AAA organization in Mexico. They we haven't seen them really since like the Royal Rumble.
I
Yes, because
think
they were
so. Yeah.
participating in the Royal Rumble, or some of them were participated in the Royal Rumble. So we haven't really seen much of them. Every now and again, we know that the WWE does this. They kind of extend the olive branch to other organizations. They get their talent featured. So this was just kind of another one of those matches. But during this match, we got a cut to Chyna sitting in the audience, and I thought it was, originally just gonna be like her like chilling there, but like it was no. Security was on her, like white on
Immediately.
rice. They were like,
Hmm.
"Hello," and
You can't be here.
no, they were like, "You done enough damage, thank you very much." So they are like getting her like out, and then like it seems like it's pretty like casual, going well, and then all of a sudden they're like just like like six of them are just like picking her up and like carrying her out, like fully just off of the
Yeah.
ground carrying her out.
It was like when, because at first it was just one guy like coming over and like talking or whatever, and then there was like
Right.
two guys. It was like when an ant finds like a little piece of food, and then suddenly there's 12
There's a
ants.
swarm,
Like they're
yeah.
like, oh my god, and then they like go and like pick it up and like that's fully what it
They're like,
was.
look what he
China was the
found, look what
little
he
shit.
found.
Yeah. And she like kind of, rough him up a little bit, but then she got escorted out and allegedly she was arrested. So
Allegedly.
allegedly she was arrested, which
and
makes sense because I'm sure there's multiple warrants for assault out for her.
and apparently like in internationally, because she did it in
Oh,
Germany too, like she was
she's she's a
like
cosmopolitan girl. Like she's all over the world. She
every woman. No, literally.
it's all in her.
Yeah. So she gets escorted out. We kind of continue to the match. It's Listen, we're dealing with we're dealing with Mexican wrestlers. We're getting that high flying style, very good at submissions, lots of reversals. It was just an entertaining match. It
So
always is.
amazing.
Um, but like we said, not a lot of focus on the wrestling today.
Right.
So during this match, we also get a cutaway to the returning Brian Pillman, who
Mhm.
we had not an where
Not one update. We have not seen him since the B&E
you literally
with the gun. Like,
right,
can we talk? Not one update
not
since
one,
Stone Cold broke into his house and he had the gun and there's shooting, there's police, there's all this and that nothing.
not a
Nada.
word,
No one
not.
ever says anything. Stone Cold never says anything about Brian Pillman ever again, but yet had a beef strong enough with him to go to his home
Mm-hmm.
and break in. But it's like whatever. It's
Right,
just
right, right.
crazy to see him just be like, "Hey, Brian, what's up?"
Right. No, you're like, okay. So Brian Pillman essentially goes, he's like, it won't be long until he makes his like grand return, and that he will be making his return to Shotgun Saturday, and then he basically just goes on to be like I am the bullets like in the shotgun, something of that
He's somehow
nature.
the bullet, but also has his finger on the trigger.
Right.
He's the He was like, "I'm the ammunition of
Right.
Shotgun Saturday Night, and my finger will be on that trigger." It's like, okay, well, which one is it?
Right. No, fully.
You the whatever. But also couldn't get a haircut in all this time. But I
No.
I will say this, if anyone belongs on Shotgun Saturday Night, it's probably Brian Pillman. Like,
Yes.
that's where he should be.
Right,
For
right,
real.
right. On that late.
That late, he said it's the clock's gonna strike 12, which is the witching hour, which is not.
Not
But
right. I was like, I was like, I listened to it and I was like, I think that's incorrect. I was like,
that's
Kelsey definitely knows, but I'll ask
you
later.
didn't have to ask. I'm like, that's wrong.
Right.
But like again, regardless of the promo one, I'm interested to see him back because I'm curious
I'm
to
interested to see him, period.
Of course, and I want to like, hey, like, you good? Like, legs good? I'm assuming you're coming back. And again, like, Shotgun Saturday Night seems like the place for you. So you
Right.
live it up over there, Brian. Good for you.
Amen. We are gonna see some more Brian Pillman apparently, we'll see how that goes. We are also informed that Hunter Hearst Helmsley has also left the building when Chyna leaves. So it is, planted in our heads that they are a pair, they are a unit. So we don't really get another update on that until later on in the evening. But in our next match, we had Ahmed Johnson taking on Roy Raymond. Once again, 2 first names, didn't get an intro. He's doing a job.
Why did they both have 2 first names? Like, that is so funny.
And I love that the one was Tony Roy and this one's just Roy Raymond. Like, I swear to God.
Who's Roy? Oh, which member of the staff is named Roy? And they're like, just put my name in there.
Yeah. And like, was it his birthday? Like, they're like, what do you want?
I
He's
love
like,
that.
everybody to be me.
Oh, that's kind of cute. I hope that really happened. I know it didn't, but I'm gonna pretend that it did. Like, happy birthday, Roy, the big 50. You made it.
And they're like, have all of the it's like when drag queens have like they call it like daughters or whatever. Like
Yeah.
they have like
Oh my God.
There's like one like Mother Roy and just like 8 wrestlers with Roy in their name and some variant.
From the notable House of Roy.
Ooh, the
From
House of
the most
Roy.
excellent house. Wow, incredible.
Roy House.
Oh God, what's happening?
Who said let's record ourselves and put it on the internet? That's crazy.
Unreal. Please.
All right.
Oh
So
God.
Ahmed Johnson is set to take on Roy Raymond when once again we are interrupted by all of the nation, all 18,000 members of them
Within 12 seconds.
just come out and they're, singing, I say, generously.
Out of breath as always.
Their like theme song. And the thing is like their music just plays the whole match. Once again, just plays the whole match. Just all the way through. And I was
I'm glad they chose not to sing the whole match or like rap or whatever they do. Their
I would have
slam
gone
poetry.
back in time and we would have had a moment. We would have had words. There's no way.
I would have gone back in time and just like cut the track.
Oh, absolutely. I would just walk up and just take both microphones. Just give me those. Stop. No more.
Done.
You are cut off.
Unbelievable. Oh God, the grip is loosening. Perfect.
All right. So Ahmed Johnson just crushes this match in like 2 minutes. It's a spine buster. It's a Pearl River plunge. He gets the victory. And basically he grabs the mic and he grabs my, he's like to Farouk, he's like, do I look scared? He's like, no, tell me, do I look scared?
This was such a read. It was crazy.
Oh
Ahmed Johnson tore him to shreds.
And then he goes and he starts talking about, he's like, oh, like you have like a whole nation. He's like, well, I found like the meanest, nastiest like men to be like in my corner. And then you just hear the what a run. Like, oh, it's so good. And so Legion of Doom comes out from the crowd, and the crowd is going absolutely apeshit, just like losing their minds. And Kelsey literally is like, I have like goosebumps, which I live for.
Body chills. When I heard that audio, which again, I love that they do this. I heard that, I was like, no way. No
Mhm.
way. I was like, because they are the best. Like, of course they're gonna fight on the streets. Like, of course. Of
I
course.
love it. I
I
love
was
it.
losing my mind. I don't know why I didn't see this coming after their little speech from last week, but I was so taken off guard because we were saying we're like, who
Right.
is
Who
he
is he
gonna
gonna have,
get?
like, to back him up?
Because whatever. Oh my god, this is the best. I'm out of breath.
Best
This is
case
the best
scenario.
case scenario. I'm so freaking excited. I'm like full body chills. So amped to see this. So amped to see this.
Oh, absolutely. And then the Legion of Doom kind of takes the mic and they're like, the gang's all here. And he's like, basically, he tells the nation that we're gonna make, he's like, oh, you call yourselves like a nation, like we're gonna make you look like a bunch of like sweaty, like
He said
what
raw sweat socks. A
mm,
pile of raw sweat socks. Raw sweat socks is crazy.
right.
Not where the mine went.
No, not at all. But
Raw. I
like,
was like
what a
raw
visual.
meat.
What
But
a
what if it
visual.
raw sweat socks?
Mm-mm. I'm
It's
I'm
it's
literally
got it.
picturing like cartoon like green like odor. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's got like a texture. Even
Mm,
like feel it in the air. I don't like it.
no, no,
Raw is crazy.
right. No, like it's not at all an expression that will ever probably be heard again, but
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
it was visceral and you were just like, okay. Like, you're
Okay.
like, oh damn. But the I will say like kudos to Farouk in this because he looked like broken. He looked like
Yeah.
he was like about to cry. He looked like he was like, when like the bully on like the playground or whatever finds out that the person they're bullying has like an older sibling and like they're just standing there like it was
And they're
very that.
big.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they're big and mean
Mhm.
and you're like,
And they're the coolest person. Oh, and they got on their
right.
back. Wow,
That
that's
was the
really a good
energy that Farouk was
analogy.
giving. Just like I don't know whether to like laugh or cry. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
like,
he looked like he was on the verge of tears, but then also he's like kind of got to stick to his guns, like because he's like, but like
right,
everything's
because
still
he's
at this
supposed to be like
feud.
in charge.
Oh God,
Right. But they just
girl.
made you look like a little bitch. So like,
I mean,
what are you gonna do? Like you're
what are you
just
gonna
standing there
do?
like all emasculated in front of your nation. Like so all you can do
Uh,
is just stand there and look sad. So
so
how about it?
wow, I'm
I'm very
so
excited for that.
thrilled for this because
Hmm.
I really did not see that coming. I'm so happy. Wow.
Amazing. So next, the tag team champions are in action against the new Blackjacks. Jim Ross tries to get a word in with the tag team champions. Basically, he like congratulates the two of them on like their outstanding like European Championship match because it was
It
absolutely
was
phenomenal.
incredible.
And Owen, just being Owen, he's like, we don't want to talk about that. We have a match right now. It's really like, why would you try and like stir things up between us, Jim? Like
Mm,
we obviously have more important things that we need to discuss right now. And like
mm.
it's just kind of like ushering like the bulldog like further down the aisle so that
Yeah,
Jim
like
doesn't get a chance to talk to him. Um,
fully not preventing him from getting on the mic even a little. He's like, no, no,
no,
no. Like we're worrying about a match. Like, shh, shh, shh.
no,
Bye.
yeah, yeah. He's like,
He's literally like, go away. I love
no.
Owen so
So
much.
I
Get out of here.
no, actually, she's such a little pouty princess. I can't.
I know I love him so much.
They basically they make it down to the ring, and I don't know if you caught this, but when the bulldog like raises the European Championship, like Owen's holding the European
Yes, I
Championship.
did notice that because at
Yeah,
first I thought they were holding their tag team title, and I was like, no, because they're wearing those.
right, because they each have their own. Like he is still like,
Ooh, weird vibes. Didn't have the
mm-hmm,
slammy though.
it's all right.
Oh, because
I
it's broken, right?
yeah, it's broken now.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Oh, my dreams were
Mhm.
so it was like such a dream fulfilled. I didn't know if it was really true. It's broken. That's right. Ah, nah, love.
Uh, I am going to make us we'll watch the 1997 Slammy Awards on YouTube
Okay.
and we're going to do like a little mini episode for you guys about the 1997 Slammies. Why not? Right?
Is there tea? Like what just for fun? I'm so
Oh,
excited. Either way.
apparently Owen like steals a Slammy, which is really all I
Work.
want to
Okay,
watch it
yeah.
for, but
Yep.
like,
No, let's do
but
it.
I'll watch the Slammies. Why not?
Of course, why not? Work.
Um, So it'll be, yeah, we'll put together a little small episode for you guys
The
about like the
mini, mini, mini,
1997
mini,
slate.
mini.
Yeah, we'll keep it short, we'll keep it simple. Because chances are we'll probably just be talking about Owen the whole time. So they get into the ring, and the new Blackjacks,
Girl.
Wyndham and Bradshaw, they come in and they're just like talking some like nonsense to Owen. He's basically saying that like he's been riding the Bulldogs like coattails, and then he goes and says like the weirdest thing, and he's like, oh, like one good thing about you though is like you got a real purty mouth, and just starts, and then Owen just like loses his shit and just starts like, then the match like just starts, and you're just like, what
It
was that? That
it
was
was it was so crazy because they take the mic from JR and they just start like talking smack, which I was not expecting because they're still, whatever, getting their feet under them, I guess, as a new tag team, which I guess
right,
so then you want them to talk smack, who knows? But
right.
I wasn't expecting it. And then, yeah, it was like he went after Owen and he was like, first of all, he called him a Canadian tick, which
Oh yeah.
cracked me up. He goes, "You Canadian tick." Like again, like what a visceral image I receive from that. Like it's just like so great. Like sorry. Then he says, but the slammy isn't the only good thing about you. You also got a real you got a real set of purty lips.
Right.
A
And I was
set
like,
of
how Brokeback Mountain of you? That's
I
crazy.
and they were wearing the assless chaps, which I love. But like, I
Right?
mean, I was not expecting it, but I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
I was
Because
just what?
just so unexpected because they're like cowboys, like whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I was really not. I was like, okay, I mean, that's one way to start a fight, I guess.
I mean, I love
That's
it.
not usually what follows when I say something like that, but sure. Like,
I mean, not
sure.
specifically,
But I mean, I guess
but
it is an outcome. Like, it is one of the outcomes
I could
that are
not,
possible.
which I was gonna say I could not envision you even just saying real pretty lips, but actually I really can.
Oh yeah, I'm the worst.
I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what? I could see that.
No, yeah, I'll take a bit and just beat it
Run with
into
it.
the ground. So
And I love that about you. I
so
do.
next we get a mid-match promo, as we have been getting all evening, from Vader and Mankind, mostly Vader. Basically just saying that Owen and the Bulldog aren't good enough, strong enough, bad enough to hold on to the titles at WrestleMania. That was like basically the gist. He kind of ran a little long, so they were Oscar musicking him out also, which was seemed to be a reoccurring thing. I guess the timing on the show was just kind of all off. So
Yeah, everyone was like really trying to take it somewhere with their little speeches, and Vince was like not having it. He was like, "Okay, thanks, bye," and like would
no,
just hang up.
literally, just moving on.
Yeah, bye.
Next.
Like fully just cut the camera, cut the mic, like mid sentence.
No,
And sometimes it do be like that. It's just like, okay, like because I literally said Vader promo wasn't bad, but he kept going. Like there were so many times where it could have been like and scene.
and
Like and
scene
it
and
just
end it and
kept
just be done.
and it would have been good. And then he just kept going and going, and Vince was like, oh, okay, and then he goes, Vince like cut him off by going like, okay, yeah, sure, it's Vader time. Okay, bye. Like that is
Yeah, he really said,
that is
yeah. We get it. We
okay. Like we know it's getting there, but like
yeah, Vader
Vader
time,
time.
girl. And you're like, all right, Vince.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
I was like,
He's like,
Vincent.
he said, you're taking too long. Moving on. So,
I'm sure it's Vader time, but like it's so funny.
Vader time. Okay.
Okay. Like so like just violated
Just
him.
so dismissive. Just
So
so like
great.
everything you do doesn't matter.
Like you hired him, right? Like he works for
Right.
you. Like calm down.
Don't need to bury him. Jesus.
So funny.
So we find out during this match that Bret Hart will be taking on Sycho Sid next week in the final Raw before WrestleMania in a steel cage match for the WWF Championship, which is wild
Really
considering
wild.
Bret Hart and Stone Cold have a match at WrestleMania, and then Sycho Sid and Undertaker have a match at WrestleMania, and the outcome of this match will affect
The
both of
whole
those.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah, which first of all, by the way, this is all happening during this match. There was like
Exactly.
no match to be had because there were so many things, new
Happening.
information happening during this. But like, I don't know how I feel about this because like, do I want to see them fight in a steel cage? Like, yes, extremely exhilarating and exciting, but also it's like because now I'm, like, so hyped for the matches already happening at WrestleMania that I almost, like,
Mhm.
don't want a wrench thrown in it. Like, I kinda just want it to be what it is,
Right.
but I guess, if I want it to be what it is, then I shouldn't be watching WWF because it's always a wrench. There's
Right. There's
always
always a wrench. There's
something.
always
There's
something.
always something afoot. So, like, I want them to see it's but they said, like, it's weird that he's getting a title shot, like, right before WrestleMania.
Right. No,
I
well,
don't
they made mention of the fact that it's like it's very like this is like the first time that WrestleMania like the card hasn't been like locked in at this point.
weird.
Like there's so many things like in the air still, which is uncommon,
Oh.
has been typically uncommon up to this point. But it does make like a better product in that like the less the fans like know what's going to happen, the more opportunities you have to surprise and delight. So
This is true. But I also like and I think it's because I feel confident that and I think just from our discussions and whatever that like Stone Cold and Bret Hart. Oh, but it doesn't they wrestle, but we don't know if it's a title shot.
yeah, the matches will
Um,
still go on as
but the
like
stakes are different.
the
But
stakes
also,
may be
I want
different.
Undertaker to have a shot at the title. And Bret said that, I guess. He was like, "Oh, I feel bad for Undertaker." Or no. Yes.
Yeah, he like in a little bit. He yeah.
Yeah. Well, either way, it's I mean, I love a steel cage match. I'm never gonna say no to watching a steel cage match, so
Amen.
crazy.
So, we cut back to the match for another 3.5 seconds before we are taken to another backstage segment in which Taz from ECW has a couple words for Jerry the King Lawler, and basically he's like, "You better keep my name out of your mouth." He's like, "If you have like all these like wisecracks to say, like I'll give you one more chance. You say one more thing, and then I'll give you a chance to say it to my face."
Yep.
And that was that.
Yeah.
And I love it. Short, sweet, to
Love.
the point. I heard you're talking shit. Try it one more time. I'll come find you. You can say it to me.
And
Love it.
that's it.
Short, sweet, to the point. You're
And
like,
I love that.
it's amazing.
And you know that Taz stands on business. Like he means what he says. And so yeah, I guess cuz Jerry the King's been talking smack about ECW this whole night because apparently they're there and he's going to have I don't know if we mentioned this. He's going to have like an interview quote unquote with Paul.
yeah, so they have a debate. The great debate is what it is lauded to be the entire
Yeah.
evening between Jerry the King Lawler and Paul Heyman. Um
Yeah. And his whole Paul's whole crew came to back him up because which I can't wait to talk about the interview or the
yeah, oh,
debate.
that was wild.
But yeah, his whole crew is on scene.
Right, 100%. So the New Jacks are doing really, really well in this match.
Yeah.
Is that like yes, they are like a new tag team, like the two of them together, but they both very much have been in the game for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this match had just like a really weird finish. So Owens got one of the new blackjacks in the sharpshooter, and he's living his best life.
I know.
He's got somebody in a sharpshooter, so he's doing all right.
I love
Um,
Owen.
but so the British Bulldog is trying to prevent one of the new blackjacks from interfering with Owen doing the sharpshooter.
Yeah.
So he keeps entering the ring to like stop the other blackjack from interfering. So
Yeah.
that just keeps going. He knocks him down, has to knock him down again, has to knock him down again. And then all of a sudden the bell rings and it's a disqualification in the favor of the new blackjacks,
Which
which is
what?
weird because it's assuming because like the bulldog wouldn't leave the ring, but also the new blackjack, like he was only in the ring because the other new blackjack was also in the ring. So
Yeah.
it's like, how are you going to count one for not leaving the ring and not the other?
It made no sense because when
No.
they said disqualification, I thought it was going to be in favor of Owen and the Bulldog. And when they said that, because I'm like, it's not even like the ref didn't see who was in the ring because the Bulldog was on top of the blackjack, so you knew they were both in the ring for the same amount of time. Like, and
Right.
I don't remember who on commentary said it. It was like the blackjack
Both
was
of them.
arguably in the ring longer than the
Right.
bulldog was. So like, what are we doing? Like it was
It was
all
a
of them were like,
weird
that was
finish.
weird. Like really,
Yeah,
really
at the
weird.
end, it's like, it's janky when like even when all three of the commentators are like, all right.
That didn't make any sense. Yeah, it was really weird. And I don't know if they just wanted, I guess like the Blackjacks were supposed to win, they wanted to make them look strong, but it didn't come off that way. It came off as weird. It was just
Right.
weird. Made no
So
sense.
yeah, it was a clunky ending. But
Yeah.
Taz makes his way out to ringside because Jerry, of course, just
Loves
couldn't
to.
couldn't couldn't keep his mouth trapped.
Mm-hmm.
So Taz comes out and they get into each other's face, like in each other's face. They're like grabbing all up, like on each other.
Mm-hmm.
And when all of a sudden Sabu just comes up from the ring, springboards himself off the top rope, does like a, I don't know, like a somersault leg drop, essentially is what it is. Both parties moved out of the way, meaning Jerry and Taz. Sabu puts himself through a chair and the metal like guardrail for the
The
audience,
table. Yeah.
and just is like just taken out. Sabu effectively removes himself from the situation that he put himself in, and then like and
Yeah.
just kind of left like, why did you do that? That
Like
that didn't work at all.
not at all. And like it just looked really painful because the table was right up against the guardrail. So like the
Mhm.
way he came down and like landed on the table, like his legs like smacked
Just
into the
smacked the guardrail
oh
back, shattered the table. But like it's just
head.
like because
Mm,
there was just like no room, he was just like crunched up against like
mm-mm.
it was not a good look. I mean,
It
granted,
was
it's Sabu. He's taken
he is something else. He is a man of mystery to me. He wears those shiny purple pants. They're purple. Shiny pants regardless.
right. I don't know if
And
they're purple today, but yeah.
he just appears out of the
Right.
blue and he does just batshit crazy stuff. Like
Yeah, that's
and then is has to be taken out. Like it's just so that's the only impression I have of him at this time.
oh, you're right. Because the only other time you've seen him, he jumped off the Raw sign
Yeah,
and
also fell, almost died, had to be taken out. Like same but different. Um but what I love about this is so all of ECW comes out and instead of like going after Jerry or anything, they all go to Sabu. Even Paul. Paul comes out, but he doesn't make a big deal out of it. He's just there. He's like trying to get the wrestler out, whatever, and
Mhm.
they all like pick him up and get him out or whatever. But I thought they were all gonna come out and start like beefing with or yeah, beefing with Jerry, but they're all just
Mhm.
like, let's just get him out of here and whatever. And I'll like, and Paul, like when he's walking out, it like kind of like makes eyes, like and is
Mhm.
like, I'll be back for you.
Right. And
I think this is great because it builds that like, which
tension.
yes, and also when, and I guess we'll talk about it when we get into like the debate, but like the community of ECW.
Yes. It runs deep. Let's
Deep, deep,
yeah.
deep, deep. And like, yeah, we'll talk about it. But oh my God, it was just crazy. It was so crazy. But I love that Paul just like came out and was like checking on his wrestler and was just like, see you later. Bye.
Mhm.
I gotta take care of business first. I
Love that. So, we'll more on the ECW gang when we catch them in the debate. But in our next match, we had Miguel Perez, who we saw a couple weeks ago in uh the kind of Savio Vega situation,
mm-hmm.
taking on Leaf Cassidy, who I guess is just solo now because I haven't seen Marty Jannetty in
A
a,
minute.
a minute. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a particularly huge fan of either of these wrestlers. Um, Miguel
Yeah.
Perez just came out in fur. um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Listen, I want to shame body hair. Absolutely not. We're not in this house to kink shame. Um, and for some people, that's their taste, and I respect it. But this man was wearing a wrestling singlet that's basically, just little straps and like a full on coat of body hair,
hmm I
which
was
again,
I was just like surprised more than anything.
shocking. Yes, because and again, no shade. I literally thought he was tattooed. Like I thought he was like blacked out, tattooed in like little tribal designs, and I was like, "Whoa, what's that about?" And then I was like, "Is that hair?" Like I said to Xavier, I was like, "That's that's just hair, isn't it? And
Yeah.
he was like, yes. Again, not in this house to king shame. You do what you want. It's your body, your choice. Live your best life. It was just, I was shocked a little bit because you never see that. Like you never
No, oh
see.
my God.
They are like slick.
Yeah, no, absolutely no. They're like what is the lack of a better term? I'm thinking like a porpoise.
I was gonna say like a dolphin, like just they are aerodynamic,
right,
keeping up with cruise ships coursing through the water,
100%.
like crazy. So he'll never be. I mean, he made an impression. I will never forget him.
That's for sure.
That's for sure. And I know he is warm in the wintertime. But that's it.
But he's also like from Puerto Rico, so like how much winter time is he getting? I'll answer that question. None. It's a tropical island. Maybe move
to the States and he's cold now. I don't know. I don't know.
Whatever.
But it was
live your life.
something.
We were just surprised.
But Jerry
yeah,
had similar feelings.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He made mention of a razor brand that I'm assuming is like defunct or something now.
Yeah, he said I have one word for Miguel Perez, and that's Narlico? Something. It's either way, it's a razor brand. Because Xavier goes, because we're like, what did he say? And Xavier goes, I gotta look that up. And he's like,
it was like, I have no idea. Like,
it's a razor. And I go, okay, I knew it had to be a razor or something for waxing or
I
something.
know. Well, Jerry's always making these like references to relics from the past that I've just like I have no idea what you're talking about. And like, granted, again, 3 years old when this was happening, so like not the target demo for whoever this is.
Right.
But still, during this match, they kind of cut to Jerry the King. Ask him about like kind of the ECW, like the debate that's coming up, and he's basically just like, I'm not even gonna debate him, I'm just gonna punch him.
Which is kind of funny, to be honest.
And JR is just like, that's not what was agreed to. He's like, I don't care. And I was like, okay.
All right, Jerry.
Paul E, we get a like a cut scene. I'm just gonna start calling him to Paul E, and he's basically just like, someone made mention of like controlling, like, why don't you control your guys like better, I guess, because of the whole Sabu incident. And he goes like, he's like, I'll control my guys when you control your comedian, in reference to Jerry the King Lawler. And
wow,
which was just harsh. Such a good line. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, like, it's so funny because calling Jerry the comedian of the WWF is like, would be on any other day probably like a compliment.
A compliment, right?
But
no, it's like, no, you're a joke.
Which is the best type of insult. When it's like any other day, that would be a compliment. But when it's a read, when you can say it in the tone and like in the atmosphere where it's a read,
right?
Ooh, delicious. Love it. That. Enjoy. 10 out of 10.
Love.
When you control your comedian.
Ugh, more on that debate coming up. But we get another backstage segment with our boy Sycho Sid.
Mama.
Basically, what was the question? It was like, how do you react to your title match with Bret Hart in the steel cage match? And he responds with just shouting. He's just like, I don't react. And you're like, seems like you do. You just did. like a pretty big one, actually. So
oh my god, literally goes, how are you gonna react? He goes, screams, I don't react. And it's like, okay, but that's a reaction,
right?
If you wanted to just say like, I don't react, that's it,
right?
That's it. It's giving like, Dumbledore in the Goblet of Fire yet again.
Oh my god!
Did you put your name in the goblet and said shrieking, hollering, hooting, throwing things, shaking people?
And that's why my sister says, "Not my Dumbledore."
I can't.
She
don't learn something from Brittany.
She goes, "Not my Dumbledore" every time.
And it's so funny because we're always like, Brittany, but he died. Like the other guy died. No, like that's why he didn't.
Irrelevant information. That's not her Dumbledore.
I know, which I love. She just sticks to it so hard. God bless you, Brittany.
She's like, no.
So funny.
Like, He's like, he clearly didn't read the books.
Duh. Well, yeah, that's a whole other thing. Well, I was about to get into it, but a whole other
No,
thing.
no,
Whole other
that's
thing.
a separate podcast.
Yeah.
All right. So next we get an interview with Ken Shamrock in the ring with JR. You know, it was announced that we have a special announcement from Ken Shamrock regarding his future.
Mm-hmm.
So it is announced that he will be the special guest referee for the Stone Cold Steve Austin Bret Hart submission match. And basically he's like, you know, he's basically like the guy to do it. He's a UFC like fighter. He's very well versed like in submissions. And he has a
Mm.
pretty good reputation for just being like a respectable dude.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's a good way to get like the WWF is very good at getting people from the outside worlds kind of in their like bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of like a really good way of doing that. So we get a uh interruption from our favorite soulless wrestler.
Our favorite
uh,
deviant.
Deviant, great term. Stone Cold Steve Austin. And basically, oh, Stone Cold's.
What a guy.
I know.
I
He
love
goes
him.
to Ken Shamrock. He's like, you should consider yourself lucky you don't get your gut stomped in like
Like
right now. And you're just like, Steve, like what?
Stephen Cold.
Uh,
What are you doing?
Stephen Gold.
He's just so he's just so funny. Like, and it's great. So this new setup. So like Ken Shamrock is right. Ken
Yep.
Shamrock. I second guessed myself for 1 second. Ken Shamrock is in the ring with JR. And then now it's that like, little incline walkway thing and then the Titantron. And it's just Stone Cold's face, like a floating head. Like
Yeah,
just
like
in
Zordon.
Yes, thank you. Like just there, but he's the meanest Zordon you've ever met in your whole life. He's just like, oh my god,
No,
I can't even
Zordon could
represent
never.
it.
Well, one, he didn't have a neck to throw around, but he was just like, like I swear to God,
I
like if he had
can't.
hair, call him
Forget it.
Willow. Like I swear
Okay,
to
no, it
God.
I can if Stone Cold had hair, I swear it'd be this all day. He'd be like, all right, listen up. Like I give
No,
that man a
actually.
wig immediately, actually. Now that we're discussing this, like, could you imagine he's like Austin 316? Like, I just, and it's because Stone Cold said so, sweetie.
Right.
Like I really can't.
He like comes in walking like a Muppet. Like
And then every once in a while, he'd have to have like a little like bob, like a glossy little bob with the bang, and he's just like, I can't. Okay, I wish I could edit things. Like I need like a master compilation. Like if Stone Cold had hair, like
right.
and just like
I basically I want Stone Cold as Miss Piggy. It's what I'm hearing.
that. Why are they the same? Very similar.
Right.
Stone
It's
Cold and
very
Miss
similar
Piggy. I
energy.
could see it.
I'm not
I
gonna
could
lie.
see it. I'm into it. I'm into it.
The
I love
comparison you
that so
didn't know
much.
you needed, guys. We're
Wow.
out here.
Love that.
This is the analysis you come here for.
Yeah, this is the riveting, critical analysis of wrestling that you guys
Amen.
live and breathe for. Yeah,
So,
just love it though. Great
oh,
promo.
amen. Basically, Stone Cold is like, I'm no Bret Hart fan, but I hope he wins. I would love a title shot at WrestleMania. Sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes to Ken Shamrock. He's like, after I'm done, uh, kicking Bret's ass, I'll wipe the floor with you too. Like,
Yeah, might as well. You're already standing there.
right. And he's just like, oh. But that is when Bret Hart's music hits, and you see it's great because you see like Stone Cold's reaction to Bret Hart coming out.
Mm.
Where you see him get like pissed and it's just like, oh, whatever, and like goes off. So and then he gets cut off the screen, and then it's Bret Hart like coming down the ring. So it just like it all worked out well.
Yeah, like because the visuals, like you could see Ken Shamrock, and then on the top of the ramp was Bret under the image of Stone Cold. It was just so
Right.
good. It was just great. I
Mhm.
was like, this setup is so good. I
Yeah,
love it.
infinitely better.
Yeah.
So basically he comes out, and basically he's just like, I know y'all been saying I've been crying a lot. And he's like, and I
Which is
have.
so funny. You know, I love him. He's like, and I do like cry
Right,
all the time.
100%. He's like, I've been screaming at Gorilla for so long that he finally gave me what I wanted. And I was like, oh,
Like,
okay. Um, and basically he's like to the audience, he's like, y'all may not want to hear this, but like Psycho Sid's not as good as me, has never been as good as me, will
and they did
never be as good
not,
as me.
they did
Um,
not want to hear it.
Oh, absolutely not. And then he goes, he's like, Stone Cold, like, you're going to be sorry you crossed my path. He's like, I've been basically like, and then he goes to Ken Shamrock. He's like, I've been screwed by everybody. And I was like, okay, Brett. And
And he was going, I've been screwed by refs, by Vince McMahon, by Gorilla Monsoon, by other wrestlers. And literally everyone in the crowd was
100%,
going, ooh.
right? They're like, do you need a Sharpie? Like, what do you
Like
want?
you need to like do little scratches on the like tick
On the
marks on the
bedpost?
wall, like as if you're in
Like,
prison. Like,
what is
my
this?
my
No,
God.
but basically he goes like, if you even think about like screwing with me, like we're gonna have like a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Um and Ken Shamrock just goes like, I'm not your marriage counselor. Like, I'm not here to listen to your problems. Like
I can't
he's like, I
love.
don't care about any of this. He's like, I was hired to referee a match, call it down the middle, raise whoever is the victor's hand, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Mm,
And it was probably the best response like to that. He's just like,
so yeah.
like that's a lot.
Yeah, I didn't ask. I didn't ask. I'm literally just
Right.
like,
No, you're just like, no thanks.
yeah, mm-mm.
Um, but after that, we get Stone Cold Steve Austin, who comes out, flips everybody the bird.
Love.
Bret Hart seems like he's gonna like go follow him, get in his face, start yelling things, and then Stone Cold kind of just like f's off to the back again.
Yeah. He's like, I
So
just wanted you to see my face in person.
yeah, I just want you to know I'm not happy.
Yeah. I just want you to feel. I like that it's like a meme. It's like when people like me putting bad vibes like into the air because there's empaths around or something. That's Stone Cold. He's like just sitting there is like
just mean mugging.
radiating bad vibes to like hurt people
Amazing.
energetically.
And like an energy vampire. Um,
Yes, love.
so apparently the Honky Tonk Man is still on his star search.
I literally put honky tonk man unhappy face.
Right. He comes out and is basically like, it's been so long since I've graced you all with a song. I know you want to hear it, blah blah blah. And he's like, actually, on second thought, I don't like the reaction I got last time, so I'm not gonna. And then we're like, okay. And then he goes and sits on commentary.
Mm,
Um, So in our next match, we have Aldo Montoya taking on the returning Billy Gunn, who we have not seen since his neck injury in a match against his brother months and months ago. So
crazy.
it's nice to see him back. He came back ripped as shit. So good for you.
Ripped.
Yeah.
Even Vince said something. Vince goes, he came back like in better shape than ever. He said something. He made a
hmm
comment on it. But again, it's so crazy. And I'm so happy to see him because, again, last time we saw him, it was temporary paralysis. Family is feuding. It's like going to be
hmm
the death of the nuclear family unit at the gun
Right.
house. Like it's just like the wives are screaming, everyone's crying, and then
Right.
he's
It
just
was
like, and here's Billy Gunn, and you're
right.
like, what?
It was apparently the night of like returns. I had no
Rid-
idea.
yeah, and it's funny. I really thought for one second they were gonna have Bart like come out just because so many people were interrupting matches, appearing,
Right.
cuts, whatever. I was like, is Bart gonna be like, oh hey brother, what's up?
Right.
Nothing. So interesting. But he looked amazing.
Yeah. No, he
So
looked great.
good.
I thought
Amazing.
um this was also a pretty brief match. We had a cutaway to Sunny, who was
Mm-hmm.
advertising something for Shotgun Saturday, like a segment that she does. It's undercover with Sunny.
Mm-hmm.
She makes lots of jokes, not jokes. What is the word?
Innuendos.
There we go, about being under the covers with Sunny.
Mm-hmm.
Just what she's there for.
Yep.
And so I have no idea what that segment is. I'm rather curious now, but
I can investigate.
yeah.
But it sounds like my type of show. She's like, yeah, we get into all the like wrestling goss. It's basically After Dark, but
Yeah,
it's just Sunny
essentially.
does it.
uh,
Um, I would love to know what she gets into. I'm sure it's all lies and slander, which I love, but
I'm here for
we'll
it.
s- I'll
Um,
I want to look into it.
So Billy Gunn picked up the victory when he does a leg drop off the top rope, and just gets him a victory on his like return, gets some momentum going.
Yeah,
So
I love
I
it.
guess we'll see what's next for Billy Gunn. I imagine that they'll probably um do something if they're gonna go back to the feud with his brother. It'll probably be like after WrestleMania,
Yeah.
because I think there's too much going on right now to like start a feud.
Yeah. They should though. They should go back to that because
No, I agree because
my
it was
bookmark is
unresolved.
fully in that chapter still. Like I'm trying to read it. Like,
Right. Like I want to see the brothers fight.
yeah, same.
And like really fight, not just like get injured. No offense, Billy. It wasn't that. It was just like
Sorry,
it was
Billy. Sorry.
no, not at all, literally. It was just because like we were like, yes, it's finally happening, and then it just like
Yeah,
ended
what a
so
sin.
poorly that we were just like, we still want to see
Yeah,
it though.
I know. Yeah.
So after that match, we get a backstage interview with Mankind, which was interesting. He's like, I have a better grasp on reality than most people think, and then he like
Scary.
throws down the urn, which is terrifying. He's like, I don't need that. I was like, oh, so like you're trying to tell me you're more sane than you're letting on? That's even scarier.
Really
Um,
scary. Scarier.
Oh,
So
absolutely
terrifying.
scarier. And he basically he's like the Undertaker, you know me well. Psycho Sid, like you're gonna know me well. At some point during that whole thing, he like busted open his own eye, like he was
He just
bleeding
like,
over his like left eye, and we were just like, okay. He's like ripping out his hair as he does. But he
mm-hmm.
really got the Oscar treatment. Like they fully went to commercial like as this man was speaking. Like the
Yeah.
graphics for the like commercial started playing over him still doing the promo. So
Which
we
I
didn't
will say,
really
it's like
get the end of it,
they
but
gave him a chance to wrap it up though. They're like, we're literally playing the commercial over you, basically, and he just kept going.
right. Yeah.
Ye-
So
I'm curious though. I loved what he said about he was like, most of you just know me from know me as if I'm still crawling out of the boiler room,
mhm.
which I thought was great because I was like, oh, is this like because that was like the last, but Buried Alive happened after the boiler room, right?
Mhm.
So it's like, I don't know, I guess like because that feud has not fizzled because they're still fighting and stuff, but like it is kind of true, like that statement of like you guys are still thinking of me as like the guy who like came out of the boiler room or like the whatever.
Right.
And he's trying to like, I don't know, is there gonna be like a new like era of mankind, which I'm terrified for. And I'm so curious when he threw away the urn, which is like very much like Paul Bear's thing. I was like, is there gonna be like, are they gonna fight? Or like, is there gonna be like a separation? Like,
My thing is like it's very much Paul's thing with the Undertaker. Like that was
Undertaker.
the whole like premise was like the Undertaker got his power from the urn. Like especially in
Oh,
the early
right.
days of the Undertaker's career, like the urn was very much like a featured prop
Thing.
in the Undertaker's just like in his matches, a part of his character. So it just feels like weird and out of place to like hit to still be using the urn when the feud doesn't isn't really between Mankind and the Undertaker anymore.
That's
It's
true.
like
So maybe it was like a departure of like, we don't need the urn anymore because
I
nobody's
think
really using
so. I
it.
think
Okay.
it was just kind of like, oh, like that it feels out of place. And we're like holding on to like I feel like we're just like cutting like a straggler story detail that we're just
That
like,
makes
"Ooh,
sense.
we're
I
gonna
like that.
yeah, which is fine. Um, so we are gonna have more of them in the main event. They come back, they're a mess, they're absolutely bonkers. But
Mm-hmm.
next we have Goldust taking on Tim McNeely, which it took me all of the match essentially to figure out what this dude's name was.
It's so funny because I thought his name was Paul, but it's definitely Tim.
Yeah,
I think you're
I think
right.
it was Tim.
We were so focused on getting the McMeany. We were like, is it McMeany? And then we were going McNugget,
I
McChicken,
was like McSnack wrap. Like
yeah,
what is
McDouble. Like, and then finally it said, and we're like, we're just going with McMeany. I'm pretty sure that's right. So Paul, Tim, whoever, pretty sure it's Tim, but
right.
that guy.
He's taking on Goldust. We immediately get Hunter, who has apparently returned from wherever he was. Essentially, it is alluded to that he went to wherever Chyna was hauled off to jail to bail her out and bring
Hot
her back.
energy.
So they're just at the top of the entrance ramp, just mean mugging, just the two of
Mm,
them.
honestly loved it.
Amazing.
Loved it.
Amazing. Goldust wins his match in short order with the curtain call. Chyna makes her way slowly down the entrance ramp, and Goldust is trying to protect Marlena, so he grabs Marlena, like brings her into the ring, like puts her behind him, and that's when Hunter Hearst Helmsley climbs the turnbuckle from behind while Goldust is facing Chyna, attacks him from behind, gets that whole thing going. Chyna makes her way into the ring, and Marlena stands by her man and jumps on Chyna's back and starts
Love.
trying to choke her out. And first of all, she's in a floor length gold dress as per, and is just on top of this woman. Just, I love it.
Love it.
Just flailing gold everywhere. It was,
Mass. Yeah.
yeah, it was great.
She said, you got me twice. You got the jump on me twice. But now that you're right in front of me, ooh, you're gonna wish
Mm-hmm.
you hadn't done that. I freaking love Marlena. She is like, this is the energy I'm talking about. Like, because
Right.
I thought she was gonna like cower in the corner, and I was wrong. And
No.
I just jumped full throttle, got her, you know, arm around the neck, hand in the hair. Like she went
Oh, and she was
after
not letting
her
go. Like
like
not
a
letting go. Like
dog.
she was
Like,
on her.
love.
I I want more of it. That's what I want to see.
Yes.
Absolutely. I was like, more of that, Marlena, because I was I was like, you just can't let her do that to you and do you.
No. And she knew it. She was like, "I'm not letting you disrespect me like that." Like the first time both of the other times you came up from behind me and got the jump on me. And now you're right in front of me. I'm gonna get the jump on you.
Right.
Like
Oh,
because
amazing.
she underestimated her. And I love that. I love that they did this, especially because China is huge and scary. And like they make her again. I love the direction they went with this character where it's like she's like just incredible. Like she's
Right.
just amazing and powerful and she's not like a freak. Like she's like China
No.
is just
Like
something
everyone's just in awe of her.
obsessed and I love that direction. And but it's like again like she's literally awesome. Like she's
Hmm.
just and Marlena's like okay, but I can still choke you
Right.
regardless. And just I just
Right.
love the energy.
So of course all of the like spare referees and backstage personnel start pouring out of the back, separating the two girlies when Marlena rears back and slaps the taste out of China's mouth. Like she is literally being physically separated by refs and she just rears back and gets her so good right in the mush. So good.
Right in the mush. It was the slap heard round the world
Oh, absolutely.
that
But
launched 1,000 ships. It's
uh
just
everything was, what was it like, and then the Fire Nation attack, what was it, everything like,
yeah, everything.
the Four Nation lived in harmony until the
Harmony. Everything
everything
changed with the
changed when
fire.
the Fire Nation
When
attacked. Yeah,
Marlena
it's basically
slapped
that.
the crap out of China.
Amen.
So
um
good.
which then just incited a rage in China, in which
A
she
riot.
just benches bench presses a referee and just yeets him into the pile of referees, just like, I don't know what y'all thought you were gonna get done
But it
with
wasn't
this,
that.
but it wasn't it. So you can have him back and stay the hell away from me. Like,
Just take that guy.
right.
Oh, I love her so much. I love both of them.
Just absolutely just
Yep.
beautiful.
And love that Marlena wasn't a damsel. Like she also
No.
just held her own against China, who is just a
Mm-hmm.
baddie. Obsessed.
Ugh,
Obsessed.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So next week have the great debate. So it is Jerry the King Lawler taking on Paul Heyman. I have like no notes because it was just so insane. I like couldn't even write anything down because it was absolutely bonkers. So if you have anything actually written, by all means.
All I have is Jerry Lawler, quote unquote, interview with Paul, but then I just have ECW loves Paul so much.
Oh, yeah. They
I
have they
this
have Paul's back.
this
Like,
was such a good way of doing this because basically like so Paul and Jerry like really start getting into it and like it was like the question is like do they deserve like to have like a wrestling thing or
no,
something?
it's
And
basically the first question was like, why, like, should ECW exist? Was the question. And
oh,
then
should
Jerry was
ECW
like,
exist?
Jerry was basically like, the question is really like, does ECW exist? Because like, who are you wrestling for? Like, essentially.
Yeah, oh, we
Y-
get like 22,000 people in the seats and you only get like 1,100. And
right.
Paul's whole thing was, first of all, I love Paul so much. And even though he is screaming at the top of his lungs, he is so clear in what he is saying. And it's like, it doesn't matter because those 1,100 people love us so much and they know when they come and spend their money they're getting their money's worth. Like we are extreme, we're hardcore, we put on a show for these people and they know that, and so it doesn't matter like how many people come, like it's the loyalty of the people that do
Hmm.
come. And I think that it was great because then also like all of Paul's wrestlers, all of ECW start kind of creeping out and they're like starting to like get, like riled up and
Hmm.
Paul's like, "Hold, brothers, hold.
Right. No.
Wait."
Right.
And Jerry's like, "Oh no, like bring them out if you want. Bring them out, bring them out. Like whatever, bring them out if you
Literally.
want to. I'll call my friends. Like I'll call them up and like we'll all fight at the ring." And Jerry, this girl, this was so sad. Jerry's like, "Come on, guys, everyone come out." And I think on commentary they were like, "Okay, Jerry's gonna have his friends come out," and then crickets.
Nothing. Not a soul.
No one.
Not a one.
And he
And
calls multiple times.
no, he's begging. He's out here begging.
Begging.
So sad. Not,
And
not
it's
one friend.
and I just want to say, you want to know why another reason why Honky Tonk Man can really shove it is because he's always like like riding for Jerry, la la la, and
He's
talking
sitting right
about what
there.
it
What happened?
staying right there, going like, "Oh, like his friends are gonna come out, like you wait and see." It's like, aren't you
Aren't
out
you his
here?
friend?
Aren't you his
Like,
friend? Aren't you?
right?
Are
What
you gonna get in there?
happened? Oh,
Fraud.
my something else that Paul said like earlier in the like the debate just like tickled me. He's like he's like the reason you get like 2,200 like people in the seats has absolutely nothing to do with anything that you have ever done in your whole career. And
Oh,
and and Jerry just looks like you could tell like because like they they start going like, oh, you want to shoot, like, and that's like wrestling kind of terms for like, oh, like you want to just start actually talking shit, like real, like you want to start talking shit. So he's like, okay. So then they start actually like going back and forth. Like I like normally wrestlers don't say like, oh, you want to have it like a shoot, like, and that's like a backstage kind of like term. But the fact
oh.
that they said it like on TV was like they were getting like intense. Um,
Oh, I did not know that. Oh,
yeah.
I
So it's like, oh,
love that.
like you
Okay,
want
well
to
that made
shoot,
it better.
like, yeah. So the debate's great
Wow.
because it shows um it just shows ECW for all that it like is. Because it's just like ECW is very much it is a small, like beloved thing.
Yeah.
It is a thing that is kind of like it's very much like the 1990 like 6 7 equivalent of like if you know you know. Um
Okay.
where it's just like
Yeah.
it wasn't nationally distributed, what does like later on, but not at this time. It was essentially located just in the Philadelphia like area. And you really had to like know about it to like get to it. Um so uh it just kind of like it just shows the camaraderie that
Mm.
is ECW, and that it is very much they take like companies like the WCW and WWF are so big that like yes, like there are people who are like WWF guys or like WWE like or WCW guys, but it always has this like air of like, oh, like I'm working for a big company.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like this, because it's so small and because every wrestler essentially has another job or another role in the company, everyone is so invested in
Mm.
ECW, in the product, in what they're doing, that
Yeah.
like it's very much like this team is bonded. Like they are
It's
looking out
tight.
for each other because all of their well-being is dependent on making this thing work and getting
Mhm.
those 1100 or yeah, those 1100 people every week. Uh
Listen, yeah. I can tell you that that is very much corporate versus small business. Like,
yes.
as someone who's worked for a small business for 8 years, you can feel, like, the what's at stake energy. Like, when you want something, you feel like you really put something into, like, to succeed. Like,
Right.
it's makes you freaking crazy, but, like, you're
Mhm.
so loyal to it, so I so get that, and, like, I think the fact that Paul like the wrestlers were like around him, they want to like fight for him, they want to like whatever, and then no one came out for Jerry, like says
Everything.
volumes. It's like
Says
you
everything.
may have this the like butts in seats, but you don't have people behind you, and like at the end of the day, like those people in the seats aren't coming to help you, like they're not defending you.
No. And there
Like
are people like I'm talking like to this day, like ECW like went under, had financial problems, people were shorted money. People to this day, like when they talk about Paul Heyman and like that time, they are like that is they respect him so much because they knew that it may not have always like worked out like financially, but they knew that man was hustling,
yeah.
trying to keep the ship going. Like that man was exhausting all options that he could get, like to make sure that this like viable option was a thing. And the thing that's like is
Mhm.
crazy and like it's just nuts that like the direction the WWF goes in is what ECW does. It's just a more like tame, a slightly more palatable like for television version of what ECW does. So like it's just crazy that this tiny like little company like based out of one little area affected so much change. And that's not even like to do
Yeah.
with just the wrestlers themselves. It's just the style of wrestling that they were putting on drew people and made people like ravenous. Like they're like again, we've talked about like Philly sports fans before, but like it is its own scary thing.
Yeah.
so
Understatement. Yeah.
so it's just like this debate just did such a great job of like showing ECW in the light that I think it needs to be in. Like it is, yes, it's
Fully.
small. It's like it's the little engine that could,
Yeah, for
the
sure.
yeah. And like you as I don't know, you want to root for that guy. You always want to root for the underdog.
It's so
Um
true.
so I don't know. I just thought it was super well done
Really well done. And guess what? Paul Heyman is gonna be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year
this
in real
year
life in
in Philadelphia.
2024 in
So
Philadelphia, girl. I love the timing of this. Like I just met Paul and like now, but also I can see like the trajectory of like what happens with
mhm.
Paul. And I just love that. Like I when I saw that I sent it to Xavier, I was like, oh, which he already knew, obviously, but I was like, oh my God, this is the best news ever. Like Paul Heyman's going in the Hall
Yeah,
of Fame.
and
That's
it's perfect
awesome.
and it's perfect because like that will always have like that the city will always be special to Paul. Like he always mentions Philly. Like he knows that like ECW wouldn't have been as like kind of intense or had that kind of like ferocity if you did it
Without.
anywhere else.
That's
So
really true. Like, you're not doing that in,
no,
Nebraska.
no, exactly. You need to have like a fan base that's going to like live and die by the product. So
Ugh, love
I think
it.
Philly always will hold like a special place in for Paul, and I think I couldn't imagine a better time and place for him to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So
Yeah, so true.
um
Wow, love you, Paul.
love you, Paul. Really, really, really. All right. So now we are at our main event, the unlikely duo of Psycho Sid and the Undertaker taking on Mankind and Vader. We seem like this is going to be like a handicap match at first because
Mhm,
Vader and Mankind are out there and Psycho Sid is out there. The Undertaker is nowhere to be found for the
mhm.
first like couple minutes of the match. And then once the Sycho Sid is like down in the corner, the Undertaker comes like flying out from wherever to like
No
even
intro, no music.
no
That's
intro,
it.
no music, just running out. I think it's probably why we got the whole intro earlier when he confronted, um,
Work.
so that at least you got it once tonight,
Yeah, and I think that this was good too because it shows like the Undertaker, like because at first you're like, is Undertaker gonna leave Sid like high and dry? But he would never, first of
Right.
all.
Hmm.
That he and the way he comes out, it's not like he comes out slowly. It's not like he kind of meanders to the ring. Like he runs out to defend his tag team partner, even though they are
Opponents.
enemies,
Right.
basically. Yeah. So I loved that they did that.
So the crowd like absolutely loves Sid.
Love
Absolutely, they
Sid.
love Sid. They
Crazy.
hmm I like I respect what he can do in the ring. Like,
Hmm.
cool. It's just like you heard him talk though, right?
Hit or be hidden.
No
That's
thanks.
once and for good.
Once and for good.
You heard that and went, "Oh yeah,
Oh
that's the
yeah,
one."
more of that, please.
Oh my God. I hate it's so funny. You and I were talking about this before you recorded, but it's like I really hate to be a hater, but I
I
don't
don't.
buy the package. Again, what he does in the ring, crazy. The powerbomb's crazy. His character, all right. But like I
It's hard to
it's
get your
a
head around
hard
those promos.
it's a hard watch. It's a hard watch every time, and I don't know how much I could take being like disappointed that many times. Like, I just feel like there's so many other, but whatever. I
Right.
mean,
No, no. And like, it's where we are. But um yeah, I just I'm cool with him being on the roster, doing his thing. I just
mhm.
don't need him to be the world champion. Like I just don't.
I don't get it because you know what? Also, too, he's so ambiguous in terms of like, is he a heel? Is he a baby face? Is he? He's just like there, like, which is mean, but like, I don't mean it that way. It's just like I don't really
I don't
get it.
know. I don't know
I
where he
don't.
stands ever.
Yes, I don't buy into it, and I'm always like surprised that everyone else does. Like they love him so much. Like they were chanting Sid the whole
Yeah, the whole
time.
time.
Like
They go nuts for
wild.
his little pyro situation
Yeah.
during his entrance. So
And I do love the pyro situation.
oh,
I
it's great.
do.
But
But I still don't really get it, to be honest.
so it doesn't take long for the two tag team partners to get into it.
Duh.
At one point, the Undertaker choke slams Sid, and then does the craziest dive where he does a plancha essentially over the top rope, landing on Vader and Mankind, which is just quite a spectacle because he is 6'10".
Hmm.
So he's
And it came
he's no cruiserweight. Let's just put it
No, and
that
he
way.
came right off of the choke slam. Like
Right.
he choke slam Sid and then just runs to the ropes. And I think he's gonna like bounce off the ropes again and like hit Sid with like an elbow or like whatever. Nope, he just flies clear over the ropes, and right onto Mankind and Vader, which I
Right.
love to see it. Just
Hmm.
really insane that projectile. I would
Right.
be filled with terror if I saw that man coming at me like that.
Oh, absolutely. So uh the Undertaker's on the outside of the ring dealing with business out there when Psycho Sid like comes to from his choke slam. It's like, excuse me, and like
Um,
grabs the Undertaker, throws him in the ring, power bombs him so that Vader can pick up the victory. Sid's like, all right, I'm out of here. Like
bye,
starts
girl.
like leaving. And then so that's kind of like the end of the match. It's chaotic. And then it cuts to like a backstage segment of Bret Hart
Girl.
randomly. And basically he's talking again about Psycho Sid, and he like basically mentions like, oh, like we're gonna find out who's like the real like ruler of the WWF or the best in the WWF, and it's not a giraffe. And I was like, what?
He really said that.
Yeah, I wrote it
And
down. It's not a giraffe. And I
and
was like,
are we referring to Sid in this moment? Because he doesn't give giraffe to me. Like maybe
right.
elephant. He's big. Like
Yeah. I was
he
like,
doesn't have those
okay.
like wobbly little legs. Like you can just.
I
It was
don't know. This whole
so
segment just felt weird. I was
the
like,
whole episode
just
strange
too many like interview segment
that
things.
went
Like
awry.
it was at least two like per match.
Yeah.
And that's a
And
lot.
and almost
And there were
all of
8
them
matches.
were bad. And almost all of them were, like, not bad maybe, but, like, things were askew. I was like, "I don't know, is Mercury in retrograde, like, at this time?" Like, I don't know, because I love Bret Hart. But both times, like, when he was in the ring and then this random little promo they did at the end of this episode, I was like, "What are you saying right now? Like,
Right.
what are you saying? Makes
Mhm.
no sense."
Mhm.
A giraffe? And also, why? Like, just end it with the chaos of, like, Psycho Sid and Undertaker, like, staring each other down, like, one at the top of the ramp and one in the ring.
Right.
Like, why did I need Bret Hart to do that?
I don't know. It was just a weird way to end the show. I don't know. Because
Super
it's just like
weird.
because we had already heard from him multiple times. Like, so it's not like we were like hurting for Bret Hart. Like, you know, like we just got him, and that segment was at least better because there was more interaction. Like, it was just kind of like we have some time, so throw him on
Put him on
there.
there. But meanwhile, they were saying they had to ask, like,
The network for like
the
extra
network for
time.
more time. So, like, why are you putting Bret Hart on it? Whatever. I don't know. It was super bizarre, and I don't know if he was trying to make some, like, a equation about, like, they're fighting in a cage and they're animals or something. Like, I have no idea,
Maybe.
but even that's a stretch because, like, what it's a 15-foot cage and you're calling him a giraffe. I
Right.
don't know. It was weird. Super
It was
weird. Didn't need
very,
it.
very,
I
very
was already
weird.
excited for the cage match. I didn't need to hear about it again.
Right.
I don't know. Super
So
weird.
that was it for this episode of the New to Wrestling podcast. Next week, we are going to have the final stop before we hit WrestleMania 13, which will be very, very exciting. This weekend, we are going to have a uh, kind of a lighter episode of After
Ugh.
Dark. If you haven't been caught up on what we've been doing the last couple weeks, we just put out a 3-part series on the Chris Benoit controversy and everything that kind of goes into that. We talk about
Transpired.
his the start of his career, the events that occurred leading up to, during, and after the incident, and kind of uh where those who have been affected kind of ended up.
Mhm.
So if that interests you at all, you can catch new episodes of the New to Wrestling podcast After Dark every Saturday. If not, you can catch us next week on Thursday, where we hit our final stop on the road to WrestleMania. So we will catch you next week.
We'll see you there.
Bye.
Bye.